Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, everybody. How you doing? I know, the videos are not coming out as often, but to be fair, it's the off-season, so it's going to be less frequent. Honestly, I'm just waiting for news to break at this point. I might make an opinion video coming up, but nothing concrete is planned, and honestly, at this point, I'm just getting ready for studying at the Red River College. But there is a little bit of Jets news, which is exciting, and it's been a while. So, the Winnipeg Jets have let go, or let's put it the proper way. 2 Winnipeg Jets draft picks rights have expired. That being goaltender Logan Neaton and forward Harrison Blasdell. Now, Blasdell and Neaton were both drafted the same year in the 2019 draft. They were both picked up in the 5th round. And both of them went through the NCAA system. And with the NCAA system, you cannot sign a player to an ELC until they are leaving the NCAA. Unlike, for example, the CHL, where Colby Barlow has already signed his ELC, but he's still allowed to play in the CHL, and he doesn't have to get forced to play, like, overseas, because he's too young. But he'd have to get forced overseas, or he'd play in the AHL when he's old enough. With the NCAA, you are not allowed to have be under contract with a National Hockey League team and be also playing in university. So that's also the holdup could be part of the holdup on why they didn't sign Rutger McGroarty right after they drafted him. Or it could be because Rutger doesn't want to sign here. But hey, that's just speculation. And as somebody who's trying to enter the media field, I am not going to falsely speculate. But yeah, no, honestly, and this 2019 draft was not a crazy one for the Winnipeg Jets. Looking back now that we can see at least some of the career projections, their first pick was Ville Heinola, followed by Simon Lundmark, followed by Henry Nikkanen, and then Logan Neaton and Harrison Blasdell were picked in the 5th round, I believe only 10 spots apart. Overall, probably not a great draft for the Winnipeg Jets. However, they've had so many great drafts before that, I'm not going to really hold it against them. Harrison Blasdell actually has already rebounded since getting his draft rights expire. Like last year with Jared Moe, when goaltender Jared Moe's draft rights expired, and he signed with the Idaho Steelheads in the ECHL, Harrison Blasdell has already signed an ELC contract. I didn't drop that video because it happened I knew that the Jets weren't going to, like, for the record, I knew the Jets weren't gonna tender contracts to either of these players. About a year out, I knew this. That's why I saw their progression, and I went, I don't think the Jets are gonna take a flyer out on these guys, and it happens. It happens. However, I couldn't post it because he signed a contract in this gray area before his draft rights had expired. But Harrison Blasdell went through let's go with Harrison Blasdell first. He went through the University of North Dakota from 2019 to 2021 before transferring to the University of New Hampshire. He was even an assistant captain. He never truly hit his stride in the NCAA. The year before, he played 2 seasons in the BCHL, and he even was a point per game in one of those seasons. But upon entering the NCAA, he was just fine. His last year was probably his best year, but it was also the year where he had the most amount of experience. So, you can understand how that works. But now he is signed with the Fort Wayne Komets in the ECHL. And you know what? Good for him. Good for him. Honestly, it's important to always be able to not just because you don't play in the NHL doesn't mean it's not worth playing. And I cannot stress this enough when I cover these small signings, because some people, they like to look down on people like this, but it's like, no, they're doing what they love to do, and they're still pretty damn good at it. And honestly, the ECHL is probably a really good fit for Blasdell. I think it'll give him a lot more opportunities. On a year-to-year basis, ECHL rosters and AHL rosters change rapidly with a lot of short-term contracts on players that are kind of moving up and down in the overlapping leagues. So he will definitely get a lot of opportunities when those contracts expire and whether or not he will stay with teams or not. Good for him. He was the 134th overall pick for the Winnipeg Jets in the 5th round, like I said. It happens. Now let's move on to the draft pick that the Winnipeg Jets drafted 10 years later, or 10 years later, 10 picks later, in Logan Neaton. Logan Neaton, goaltender, at the university, was originally at UMass Lowell, but then moved to Miami University in brackets, Ohio, because it's not in Miami. And again, it's worth noting, when the Jets drafted him, he had just finished a season in the BCHL, where he was with the Prince George Spruce Kings, where he had a .914 save percentage and a 192 goals against average, and a record of 32-8-5, which is not bad if I do say so myself, in the playoffs recording 16-1. Now, when he started going to the NCAA, his time in the NCAA is the biggest detractor for him, honestly. I look at Logan Neaton as a goalie that never truly got an opportunity in the NCAA, more than just he wasn't great in the NCAA. Overall, he only averages 3 games, 7 games, 9 games, 23 games. And his win-loss record is 0-2, 0-1, 1-4, 0-5, and 4-4-1. And it's worth noting that despite having not great win-loss records, he's played in a lot more games than that, which kind of tells me that either he got completely hung out to dry so badly that the other goalie gave up a lot of goals, and it also added to the other guy's total as opposed to his, because if you don't give up the game-winning goal, it doesn't go on your win-loss record. That's a weird stat that goalies have. It's how it works. But it should be noted, his numbers aren't spectacular. However, he didn't really get a lot of starts until his final season. And at that point, I think the Jets had kind of written him off. They did invite him to camp last year, and I must say, Logan Neaton, extremely genuine human being. I cannot stress this enough. Very nice person. He literally walked out and greeted everyone who showed up. Whoever media trained Logan Neaton, and also just Logan Neaton's character, phenomenal. He also was assigned a tryout deal to the Norfolk Admirals last year, just in the backup position, which I kind of imagine was also just them throwing him a little bit of a bone, because the Norfolk Admirals are loosely associated with the Winnipeg Jets through the tier system of affiliation. So obviously, he had that connection there that probably helped him get that contract. I'm curious to see, as he doesn't have a contract going into the next season, if he does choose to re-sign with the Norfolk, or choose to sign, shall I say, with the Norfolk Admirals, or if he picks another ECHL team, or if he picks a different league entirely. Again, I think in a weaker draft, in a weaker pool of prospect pool of goalies, I think he would have been more successful. But with a very defined OHL standout in Dominic DiVincentis, who is now going to be starting in the ECHL, and an AHL/ECHL standout in Thomas Milic, who is going to be competing for the starting position once again for the Manitoba Moose, and with a veteran goaltender they're looking to put next to him, the opportunities for an aging goaltending prospect is limited. Just like I said with Jared Moe last year, it's tough for goalies because there's only 2 spots per team, and if you are not in the top 2, you're not on the team. So it is what it is. But yeah, that was a little bit of a longer video than I expected to make. But yeah, that's pretty much explaining the Winnipeg Jets draft picks that they have let go. They also let go of Anton Johannesson, who was drafted in 2020. So we're actually going to have to wait a while before I think any draft picks could risk losing their signing rights. But yeah, not that I'm complaining with that. I like when draft picks work out, but sometimes they don't. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please leave a like on the video down below and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. We're trying to hit 1,900. We're actually trying to hit 2,000 at some point, but baby steps. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Go Jets, go, and we will see you later.